You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a StarCitizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium games, StarCitizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radagast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Beyond the Verse, a StarCitizen podcast. I'm your host, Sulyce, and today's episode is 109, a day after the release of Alpha 4.2 Stormbreaker. So obviously, that will be headlining this podcast. We're going to go through the release, what was in the release, and last night's experience with Soul Provision when we took 28 Soul Provisioners. We got to come up with what we're called. But 28 of us went out and did Stormbreaker. Epic failures, epic successes, some good stories to get through. We will also be covering the Roadmap Update and Roundup. We will briefly discuss the current Evocati playtest, which is 4.2.1 in the experimental PTU. So something like a dynamic there we need to talk through. And then some low-hanging fruit, like the issue council was updated for the RSI website, etc. We also have some major giveaways to go through. So we've had a CIG sponsored giveaway the last couple of weeks for the Prowler Utility. We're going to give that away here in a couple of minutes, as well as for those members, the Hauler members on YouTube, we have the patch bundle that we're going to give away as well. So a very eventful show. I can't wait to get into it. We're going to move hot and heavy. Try to target that 1 hour mark, which we always fail at. It's always an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes, but I don't think it really matters. I think as long as we're having fun and I'm giving you content to consume throughout the day or week, I think we're good. I think we're good. Well, as always, I hope this finds you well wherever you are, however you're choosing to listen to this podcast. It has been a week of insanity for me. I feel like it's always ups and downs. I feel like I'm always giving you an update that is either, hey, pretty productive week. I feel really proud about myself. And then sometimes work just kicks you right in the nuts, right? Just square in the nuts. Actually so bad, it like targets one nut and just hits it repeatedly. Okay, too much graphics, too many graphics, but man, this week was hard. I had 2 docs to write and an virtual on-site for my the category that I lead, or the pricing category that I lead. So it's been insane. Haven't really been able to get into the game. No PTU testing or any of that, but I was able to get into 4.2 last night. So I cannot wait to share those experiences with you. Let's go ahead and get into from the community and give some free stuff away. I'm really looking forward to that. Here we go.
Incoming message.
All right, before we do any of that, let's get to the comment section and the polls. So quickly sharing my screen from episode 108, we asked you, will you be picking up the Prowler Utility? No one said yes from the pledge store. So I don't know if my podcast had any influence on you, or it's just that blatantly obvious that there's other ships that are $300 or $270 that are worth more. Which, whatever. Go listen to the last episode if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But 53.3% of you say yes, but you're going to buy it in game. And then 46.7% said no, you will not end up getting this, whether pledge store or in the game. Now, I think this giveaway, this giveaway is like super important though, because I don't think anybody's doubting that the Prowler Utility is a beautiful ship. It's beautiful for what it's supposed to do. Especially since CIG adjusted the stealthiness, whatever, of this ship. I think it's very good for what it's intended for. So like piracy, I think it's going to be a phenomenal ship to go and pick up the piracy. Wow, I cannot talk today. The piracy game loop, or even getting to point A to point B, like maybe a Hathor mining mission. Without drawing a lot of attention to yourself. So I think there's usefulness I just don't think there's $270 worth of usefulness. But you do you. I mean, this is StarCitizen is about you and your play style and how you want to experience the game. So yeah. Anyways, we're going to give that away here in a couple of seconds. Let's get through the comments section and then we'll give it away. All right, to the comments section, let's go to our 8 comments. We're going to go through somewhat quickly, but I want to make sure we give the courtesy to those who spent time to write messages. All right, Bravo 1 writes, Sole Provision 0 days worked safe since last incident. Yep. On our last org night, we had a worker accidentally fall out of a cargo bay of a C2 without proper PPE. That's personal protective equipment. As a friendly reminder from Sole Provision's unofficial health and safety agent, Bravo 1, wear proper PPE while working. Yes. So org nights are always fun, always inside stories. And this always happens. Last night, this happened to Steel. So as always, Steel is hanging out on the Prowler and decides he's just going to leave the Prowler while we're flying to Pyro 1. And so his body just happens to be out in space. And so we have to turn the Prowler utility around and go pick his ass up. It's like there's always something. But make sure you have a helmet on for when that happens, when StarCitizen happens. So we went through some things last night. Like, hey, we should probably have some rad pins on ourselves. We should probably have a helmet like on at all times because you never know when something like that's going to happen. We will be adjusting our uniform in Sole Provision for when we do first-person shooter FPS missions, because right now the medium Orc MX V5 is not. It's not going to cut it. So we need to switch over to heavy armor. But this PPE idea of like you should probably always be ready for anything. That's why when I do cargo hauling, I always have a rifle on me regardless. Even though I'm thinking this is going to be 30 minutes to an hour worth of peaceful missions. No, I should have a rifle on me because you guys out there, you listeners, I don't know how many of you have killed me, but y'all are dirty. All right, Soundwave Ghost writes, it's okay. I either write poorly or use too many big words. On the utility, the pricing needs a reset, but I see value in time. In supply, minor die, safety, and pyro mattered. Our org used big raids, but Prowler, the Nomad, could zip in and out very fast. It pairs well with the Asgard, the Valkyrie. The Prowler drops troops. The utility handles cargo or sneaky geo or storage runs while hand mining, hoping alien ships get more love. Sad to miss Vegas, but I'll rip the Sole Provision and BTV in spirit. Yeah. So I think we kind of mentioned that as well. I mean, it has its purpose in the verse. Now, whether or not that's a purpose that you want to serve or play out, I think that's the ultimate question. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, when stealth is of the essence and you don't really need to bring too much cargo with you or take too much cargo, then yes, this is a viable ship. All right, to Grieved. I ended up picking up the Prowler Utility as a CCU for now. I like the idea and the look of the ship. I think it needs some improvements, but I can see use cases for it. A line in mind, battery pickup and drop off would be awesome. And once you get the battery on board, you can head to orbit and hide in stealth until the OLP is secured for drop off. Also, I hope they add shielded cargo containers. Yes, I agree. This would be a great smuggler ship if they do. I do agree that they should have just made the Prowler module instead, or modular instead. Yep, absolutely. Dreamer of Days writes, this is more of an astrohistorian question, but wouldn't the Tavaran be butthurt if one of their ships was redesigned for smuggling? Are they so assimilated into human culture that smuggling is a legitimate career path? Or did the Tavaran have a need to secretly move around, like some weird Xeno Underground Railroad situation? Glad you're getting back into the lore snippets like the earlier episodes. Incidentally, I was treated to some Stag Jr. last week. I will prefer Woodford's though, so a little bourbon talk. Stag Jr. is great. It's significantly cheaper than George Stag. Glad you enjoy that bourbon piece. As far as the lore goes, so remember that the manufacturer is Esperia. So it's not necessarily like the Tavaran endorsed, right? It's Esperia is a manufacturer that, I mean, here, let's do it. Let's go here. Let's go to StarCitizen. That's going to take me to the store, oddly enough. Let's go to Galactopedia. So as I'm pulling this up, Esperia is just bringing in alien flair. It's not like it's endorsed by the alien species. So here's Esperia. Here we go. Esperia is a human spacecraft manufacturer that adapts and reproduces and sells existing spacecraft designs. The company was founded in 2873 by Jovi and Theo Engstrom, brothers interested in preserving spacecraft building history. Esperia's current lineup of the spacecraft reproductions include copies of the Vandal Blade, the Glaive, the Scythe, the Taveran Prowler dropships, and now obviously the Prowler Utility. The UEEN makes use of the Esperia's replica spacecraft for testing and for aggressor training, for their combat pilots. So hopefully this is astro historian enough for you, but it's more, I think that last piece captures it. It is a human manufacturer that creates these for testing and for combat pilot scenarios, right? I don't think they go to the Taveran and get permission. I don't think they went to the Vandal and got permission to build the Blade, the Glaive, and the Scythe. So hopefully hopefully that answers your question. I think it does. So there you go. Johnny117 writes 4.2 isn't dropping this weekend. It'll drop no earlier than mid next week. Okay, so we were both wrong. It was not. Well, I guess mid late week. Yeah, Thursday. So we'll give you credit. We were through release candidates last weekend, and so it was viable that it could come out as early as last weekend, if not like a Monday, Tuesday situation. But of course, it came out on Thursday. I think historically, it's been more common to come out on like a Thursday, Friday situation. So, yeah, Johnny, point for Johnny. All right, King Kia writes a message, but he ran out of character count, so he did end up sending an email. So let's just go to the email real quick. I need to stop sharing my screen because out of respect of email addresses. Kia made a comment on Spotify, but hit the character limit. Been enjoying the podcast and my time with the org thus far, even though I am on the opposite side of the Pacific. Hopefully we'll see some more Oceania members soon. I agree with the others that Soul Provision is an org, is a very inclusive and welcoming org. I've always had virtually no issues whatsoever, and the few I've had were probably just cultural differences between little old New Zealand and the United States. Smiley face. Anyway, regarding the alien ships, I'm of the mind that they're the rule of cool, first and foremost. I don't see people flying them as meta ships, mostly because in that regard, they are outperformed by other ships like the Gladius, the Hornet, the Cuddy Black, the Connie. That being said, they always bring unique aesthetics in different designs. I have had the Sulyce, a notoriously terrible ship on paper. I agree, it's a horrible ship on paper. But there are times I enjoy using it simply because it is different. It looks cool, it sounds cool, and the vertical nature of it brings something unique that my other ships do not do. Really looking forward to discovering the different ways people use the Prowler Utility. The upside-down rapid deploy cargo grid has some interesting possibilities, particularly with the Atlas being able to mount to it soon. Could also be very good as a stealth pirate looter. Just curious, how are the plans for the org expansion? I recall you mentioning a while back a desire to do almost a regional office approach to incorporate players from other regions. Enjoying the podcast, enjoying the org, and wishing you and your folks all the best. Yes, so the plans remain the same for our expansion. Soul Provision is blowing up. We're over 330 members. Again, we almost had 30 individuals last night participating in Stormbreaker, so there is a desire to expand. Now, one thing that I definitely am, and I pat myself on the back for, is I'm a visionary. Like, we are where we are today because of my visions. I set the left and right limits. I bring on people of like-mind vision, and I disseminate that control or that freedom of maneuver to my officers. And so this has always worked in the military. It works in communities and gaming and everything in life. So jot that down. But we are nothing but visionaries. And so we intend to grow global. We absolutely do. And I have a roadmap for that and how that looks, but we cannot do that without CIG's help. We cannot do it. It's already hard enough as it is to plan, organize, and execute community events when you're having to use Discord. And there's nothing in the game that helps you, right? From party tools and org tools and whatever, right? So the idea of expanding this from the US all the way across the globe for all the major, servers, the regional servers, it is almost impossible. And I'm just gonna say it is impossible. It'd be impossible to offer the same experience. And so that is my hang up. I do not want to start something that I cannot bring my brand and my minimum viable product to everything that we do. And so if I can't promise the same experience for New Zealand like I do for the United States, I'm not doing it yet. So there is plans. We're going to get the US squared away. We're going to get the order or the org structure, out of the way. We're going to iron out all the details. And once we finalize and perfect what we've got, then we can start rolling out that kind of rubber stamp to the other regions, of the world. So just like this individual, if you are interested in joining Soul Provision and just being part of the conversation and maybe being able to squeeze in and Orgnite here and there, go ahead and join. I mean, it's not like you're not allowed to join. One day, eventually, we will have the ability to be global. So I appreciate your email. I hope that addresses your question. Really quickly, we have like 2 more comments. Sharing my screen again. David Leppert writes, enjoying the podcast as always. Thank you. Quick question. Is a Discord account required for admission to Soul Provision? Yes. I was going to say yes and no, but yes. So because of literally what I just said, there is nothing in game. Spectrum is a joke. And it's a joke as far as running a community of out of game and in game activities. It's just very difficult to work with. So yes, Discord is a must. This is also very important. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we're focused on each other. If you are one of the ones that has blessed me and has elected to be a hauler member on YouTube or even a courier member on YouTube, please get into our Discord. Because most of the benefits of giving that $5 a month or that $10 a month, most of those benefits is Discord. There's not a lot I can do outside of Discord to give you those perks. So the giveaways, I need to have your RSI name and email address, and that's not given on the YouTube accounts. So I need to get that from you from Discord. So you have to have Discord. Get into Discord. You have to tie your YouTube into the Discord account. It's not that hard. I even have a walkthrough FAQ section on the Discord to help you out to do that. But you've got to get integrated into Discord so we can engage and have that awesome community. And again, give you those perks that you have signed up for and paid for. We have a few individuals that are haulers. They pay $10 a month. Right. But they haven't become part of the Discord. They haven't become part of the hauler group within the Discord. It's all those benefits of being, having a priority, of having one-to-one conversations, to idea sharing of future podcast episodes and content for the org. You're not reaping those benefits. So please try to get into the Discord. All right. We're going to end on Groza. Groza writes, all you psychos and your obsession with beds and utility, y'all need to remember that fashion equals priority 1. Look at how beautifully designed the Prowler is. Look at that claw cargo bay. Look at the way the wings fold down to land. All that being said, I did not buy one. I am relying on my good fortune to hopefully win one. Yeah. Okay. So, it's funny. So he's joking. So Groza's kind of joking when he says this. But it's funny. Most MMOs, arguably, one of the end game aspects of MMOs is fashion, right? Getting the right gear, getting that special livery for your ship. This is World of Warcraft. This is Elder Scrolls Online, right? Getting that gear, getting that item, that home decor that you can put in your home. That's kind of funny. I see that being the case in StarCitizen as well. Okay, without further ado, here we go. What everybody's been waiting for. Let's give some stuff away. Okay, so let me just go ahead and hide this guy. I think everything else is good to go here. Alrighty, so this is for the Prowler Utility and the Luminary Livery with lifetime insurance and a digital copy of StarCitizen, which, again, I am the highest level concierge that you can possibly get for StarCitizen, yet I don't own the digital copy of the game. So I wonder how that's going to work out. Anyways, so here's what we do. If this is your first time watching or listening to the podcast, I show you how the soup is made. So if it's the same person that wins, every single time, it's at least fair. And you're seeing, again, how I do this. So we're going to do this twice. We're going to do this for the Prowler, and then we're going to do this for the haulers that we're going to be giving away the patch bundle for. All right, so here we go. There are a total of 173 entries, right? Bottom right-hand corner over here. 173 entries to this giveaway. So very awesome. Let's get into how we do this. So we're going to insert a column. We're going to call this random. We're going to insert the formula for a random number. We're going to click the little bottom square here, double click it. It's going to generate all 173 random numbers. Control C, Control V, that copies and pastes, and we're going to change it to a text so it can't change every time we manipulate the table. We're going to filter this guy out. Filter, filter, filter. And we're going to take the random and we're going to sort by the largest number. And it looks like a Jets TRM 3652 is our winner. The RSI username. Here we go. Awesome. And the first item that they would give if they made first contact with the aliens is a flower basket. So you probably really enjoyed the subscriber flare that came from a couple months ago. So here you go. We're going to go and highlight this guy. Congratulations on winning. We will get you that item as soon as possible. So congratulations. All right. Patch bundle time. So here we go. Out of 16. We have 16 haulers. So again, first off, thank you so much. Thank you to Grieved, Casey, Eric, Captain, Dedicated. Wow, I can't read your name. Wham64, Soundwave Ghost, Blast Resort, Descent, Bravo, Citizen Groza, Nickel, Tanker, Will, Fantastic Marauder, and Stillwicker. All right, same thing here. We're going to add a column. So insert here. We're going to add a random column. The formula is RAND, open brackets. We're going to double click. We're going to Control CV, paste as text. We're going to take this. We're going to create a filter, and we're going to sort by the largest. And Soundwave Ghost, congratulations. You have won the patch bundle for this month's hauler giveaway. And we will go through what those items are later in the show. So congratulations to both of you for winning our giveaways for this last month giveaway season. All right. Very cool. Moving on to This Week in StarCitizen. It says that like 4.2 will release, but we know that it did release yesterday. So take this with like a grain of salt. But This Week in StarCitizen. Last week, StarCitizen Live featured an in-depth look at vehicle flight and balance as Richard Towler, Mattia, why do I do names? I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Mattia and Yogi joined the show to answer your top questions from Spectrum and shared insights into the ongoing tuning work behind the scenes. We also kicked off Alien Week 2955 with style, food, flair, and of course, an abundance of shenanigans. Shenanigans. I see what you did there. Shenanigans, but it's shenanigans. Very cool. The festivities continue through June 23rd, which is like 3 days from now. So there's still plenty of time to join in. The Prowler Utility also made its debut as an iconic Tavaran ship, blending cargo with an alien twist. If you missed our Behind the Ships episode, it's well worth a watch. And finally, a massive thank you to everyone who joined us at the latest stops of the StarCitizen World Tour, from Frankfurt to Montreal, Austin to Manchester. It was an absolute pleasure meeting so many passionate and creative members of the community in person. Your stories, enthusiasm, and feedback continue to inspire the team every day, for real. For those who couldn't attend, we'll share more pictures on socials, and you can relive the experience on our Instagram. So here we go. Here are your 3 pictures. Don't really care. Oh, hey, look. I am right there. So here's the Austin photo. I am that little small dude that my mouse is kind of like hovering over. But I was there. It was a lot of fun. 250 people, I think, was the estimate. Met a lot of good individuals, a lot of listeners, a lot of people recognized at least the logo on my chest, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I recognize the face." Did not have my hat on, so maybe that was a little bit of a dynamic as well. But it was fun. I met a lot of you people, and I'm always humbled when I can put a face to a name. And y'all tell me just how much you've been appreciating the podcast. So that was very special. My brother went with me. So again, thank you, D-Rock, for also joining and attending. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So we got our card, which gave us this holographic alien image that you see on the screen. So cash that out in the hanger. And then a couple other things. There was a virtual reality where a community team has been updating and integrating virtual reality into StarCitizen. They've been doing it for several years up to this point, but it looked and played very well. So kudos to that community effort. Very immersive, obviously. And then, of course, we had trivia, so Q&A, etc. So, again, a lot of fun. Try to attend one if you ever can. So this week, we had the Roadmap Update and Roundup. Today, we had the RSI Weekly Newsletter. And then just generally this week was the 4.2 Stormbreaker, which, again, we know came out last night. Okay. Low-hanging fruit. So the issue council, I will be honest with you, out of 3 years of playing, I guess 4 years, out of 4 years of really playing StarCitizen, really getting into this, I never once have submitted anything to the issue council. Not because I'm lazy or because I don't believe in it, but because, I guess I don't experience the headache that a lot of other people do. And that's mainly because I don't spend a lot of time in the game like I used to, right? Or maybe back then I wasn't spending a lot of time in the game with creating content and coming up with things to discuss on the podcast. So I would play for 30 minutes here and there, and I'd prioritize work and family. And so I wasn't really subject to hangar issues or elevator issues. So I don't know, the issue council has never really been a thing for me. Moving forward, when I started doing the podcast and I started diving into, deep into the content, I started discovering those things. But because I'm married so much to the patch notes and roadmaps and everything else that it takes to make this podcast, I know the solution has been on the horizon. So when I see elevator issues or hangar issues, I know why they're there. And so I don't necessarily see the point of going to the issue council. Now, recently, what I will do is I'm Evocati, so I'll watch the Evocati chat. And anytime there's a new thing that gets identified and they put the issue council link in that chat, I'll go in, read it. And if I have seen it or I can say that I can replicate that situation, I +1 it. I upvote it and become a viewer or watcher, for that issue, because that's important. You're trying to put a weight, right? If there's a million different things that CIG has to address, they're going to prioritize what is most painful and most frequently experienced. And so I go and I contribute to that. But as far as creating a new issue, that's not really been a thing for me. Well, enter in this latest update. So the issue council now has the RSI website. So if the RSI website has an issue, now you can put a bug or you can report a bug in the issue council. So hi everyone, last year we introduced the RSI website bug reporting category in the issue council, starting with a soft launch for Evocati testers and then for concierge members. And today, which was yesterday, we're excited to open it up to every backer. You can now report website-related issues directly through the issue council. It will use the same features that you are already familiar with if you used the issue council before. Report issues, confirm problems reported by others, and indicate if you are experiencing a similar issue. When submitting a report, you'll have the option to choose specific areas of the website, the browser, and devices that you're using, and the severity of the issue you encounter. Providing reproduction steps and supporting evidence like screenshots or videos will greatly assist our team in triaging and resolving problems efficiently. Please use this category only for the RSI website related issues. Then it gives you links, and then it gives you some other like feedback guidelines. So awesome. I mean, maybe it doesn't impact or mean anything to the majority of listeners and viewers of the podcast, but just know if you're going through the website and something really steps out or stands out to you as like egregious, and it's a problem for you, now you have a place to go and raise that concern. All right. I have confirmed that this next update I am able to talk about. Okay, I've confirmed it. So I just want to be very careful with this NDA. So non-disclosure agreement for Evocati playtest. This is straight from the Evocati testing chat. So again, I have to be very delicate with what I do share and what I don't share, but I want to bring your attention to this right here, right? You will not stream the content. You will not share the video, audio, or screenshots of the content, but talking about it is allowed. So before all of you get out there and get all mad and fussy, we are allowed to talk about these notes. Audience, talking about it is allowed. All right. So whether I was just reading this without this screen or showing you this screen, this is 6 one, half a dozen the other. All right. I have to protect my ass, guys. I'm LLC'd, official business. I have to always be very legally minded because I don't want to F this up. All right. 4.2.1 is in the Evocati experimental PTU. All right, real quick. The EPTU is not Evocati. Again, the EPTU is not Evocati. It's the experimental public test universe. But this is specifically an Evocati EPTU. So it kind of threw some people off when they saw this yesterday. It's like yesterday, or it was like 2 days ago. When I saw this 2 days ago, they were confused. Well, is it EPTU or is it Evocati? Well, in this situation, it's both. Right? So nothing real new about the mesh configuration. It's 55600. You're going to start off with 15 million, but let's talk through the testing feedback and the focus. So this initial build is a stability focused playtest for the Evocati on EPTU. There may be features in various states of completeness, but we are currently not focusing on feedback on these. Our intent is to keep this build up. That's a typo. Our intent is to keep this build up, but if breaking issues occur, we may have to take it down early. So stability and bug fixes and a resource gathering event. For this event, we are not expecting all the Second Life resource drive tracking to function, as well as final rewards. These will be enabled once further changes are complete. Skip the known issues. Let's go to the features and gameplay. Resource gathering event. A shocking discovery reveals that imprint technology is failing. An upsetting number of the population are not actually regenning, meaning that death might not have been conquered after all. To calm the public, Comparator Addison relaxes restrictions on scientific exploration in a desperate effort to find a solution, leading to some dubious research initiatives cropping up in the universe. All 4 corporations of the Stanton system are fighting for resources to help win a research contract. Whichever corporation has the highest amount of contributed SCU by the end of the event will be the winner of the contract. These resources can be gathered by any means necessary. Players will only be able to partake in the missions if they do not have a crime stat 3 or higher. Players will be tasked with different missions to achieve this, including resource gathering. They ask the player to source and gather X resources. Recover cargo. Players go to retrieve cargo from a vessel that has been broken down or attacked, or retrieve cargo from a stolen stash. Support attacked ship. Defend a cargo ship from waves of pirates trying to destroy and rob the ship. And hauling. Retrieve resources that have been processed and are ready to be delivered. And those are the notes. So here's my reaction to this. Like 4.2.1 is where I want to be. Like that to me, like that's sole provision, right? That is the org that I created. That is why I play StarCitizen. Like I want to be that industrial worker or the transport logistics worker taking items from A to B. I don't necessarily want another FPS game, a Call of Duty, but with aliens in space or whatever. Space combat's amazing, right? I'm not trying to take away from the things that are in StarCitizen. Just I prefer my play style is more this resource gathering and resource management. That's fun for me. Just speaking out of my own desire and experience. So this is where I want it to be. Unlike 4.2 that just came out, which we'll get into here in a couple of seconds. So 4.2 Stormbreaker is very much, it's PvP. It's very much player versus player, which happened to us last night. It's very much player versus player. It's very much Call of Duty, shooting. There might be some aliens in the background. There's like a worm that you have to fight at the end. Sure, that's fine. But for the most part, it's just jump down with a couple of, aliens here and there. Some messed up looking dogs with horns coming out of their face. It's fine. It's fun. I had fun last night, but that's not necessarily what I'm passionate about when it comes to StarCitizen. Me personally, I love the idea of living up in space, like everyday life, managing, inventory, making a living, delivering stuff, right? Like I love that idea. When 4.2 dropped, the first thing I did is I pulled out my Asgard, and going from Orison to Seraphim Station, I took a cargo mission. I'm like, hey, I might as well make some money off of this. So I took a direct solar, I think. I took an easy, it was a rookie direct solar medium cargo. So it was like 90 boxes of SCU. And it was like trash. It was like scrap and waste. And I literally just took that from Orison to Seraphim because I was headed up to Seraphim because I make the orbital station my home. And that was fun for me. The first hour of 4.2 was probably the most fun that I had of the entire 4.2 launch. Again, just because that's my thing. That's just my thing, especially when you get into like massive hull C, operations where it takes an entire organization and you need the MPUV like cargo ship to help out. That's what it's all about. So I cannot wait for 4.2.1, not to take away anything from what just happened last night. 4.2 is great. I love it. But this is what I'm excited for. So how are you feeling? What are your thoughts about our resource gathering event for 4.2.1? I personally can't wait for it. And our last low-hanging fruit news, it's not really low-hanging fruit, it's roadmap update. But not a lot of, again, new material. I won't rehash how I feel about these. But the card being committed for the Esperia Prowler Utility, we've been there. We know this. But here is your 4.2.1. So a couple more pieces of additional information. So 4.2.1, space combat mission, defend, space combat mission, support ship. So adding new missions focused around escorting ships that are under immediate threat. Very exciting. A new global event, adding a global cross-shard event that builds on collaboration and competition. This card has been set to tentative. The Volt laser pistol, or the Pulse, introducing a powerful new pistol from Volt's specialized arsenal, a high-capacity, fully automatic sidearm that ramps up its rate of fire as it heats up. The card has been set to tentative. New medium utility armor, so adding a new medium utility armor. The medium utility armor has been temporarily removed while we shift it to the Alpha 4.3 column. It will appear once the 4.3 column is populated. And just because we always have Spectrum, here's the Spectrum post for the roadmap update and roundup, which doesn't always have new information, but just makes it more succinct. So for this one, had you not had me read the Evocati playtest notes, so you would have gotten some of that new information in the roadmap update. So I think this has been a good one. Historically, they've been kind of lackluster. It's like, hey, we're confirming what you already know. But this was a nice one because, again, had I not had the notes for the Evocati playtest, we would have not known about the extra missions. But you have a little bit more information from the Evocati test. Okay, man, let's get into 4.2. All right, last night. First off, 4.2 launches. I already told you I pulled out the Asgard, did a cargo mission from Orison to Seraphim. It makes Seraphim my home. It's just easier, faster to get in and out. I knew that Stormbreaker was Pyro 4. Well, really, it's Pyro 4 is a moon of Pyro 5. So I knew it was going to be in Pyro 5, which is the complete opposite side of Pyro whenever you get into the system from the jump point. So in preparation for Org Night, I made it a point to go ahead, and this is like 11 a.m. noon time frame. I made a point to go ahead and try to get into Pyro. And so I get everything ready, I get the Asgard prepped, and then I head to the Pyro jump point. And there is already like murder hobos camping out at the jump point. I'm not going to go as far to say griefing versus piracy. We're not having that debate. We're not having that debate right now. I have feelings and opinions on the difference between the two. I don't think this is a time to really discuss that. Because I wouldn't say it's griefing, but camping a jump point with a vehicle that you can't obtain cargo in, so like a light fighter, like that's just shitty behavior. It's shitty behavior, right? So there's no intent to pirate. There's no intent other than to make someone's gaming experience a negative one. So I don't think it's as far as griefing, but it's just shitty behavior. So I'm at the jump point, the station, Pyro station, and I approach the jump point and of course get fired on. I return fire and then realize like you can't outmaneuver a light fighter when they get really close to you, right? In Asgard, it's important to keep your distance. You've got plenty of shield, but you don't have maneuverability. And when you don't have as much maneuverability, you got to keep your distance so that you can at least keep the target in your sights. Well, once they get up on you, change to nav, get the hell out of Dodge. And so you'd fast travel back to the Pyro jump point station. And so I did that maybe 2 or 3 times really throughout the entire day. And I was like, man, this sucks. Come time for Org Night. Luckily, no one was murder hoboing camping the jump point. So it was easy. It was easy for us. Again, there was 28 of us that got together last night with not a lot of precedence. I know there was a few individuals that had tried it and done it in the PTU, but a lot of us, had not. So we knew general, like reading the patch notes, reading all the reports, like we knew what to do. But as far as like being on ground and doing it, a lot of us had never done it before. So that was fun. And there's not many times in like gaming experiences that you get to do things for the first time, right? Like if you were to get in World of Warcraft, you do the raid once for the first time, and then it's like half a year of doing the same shit. And you're just trying to do it harder and you're trying to do it faster, right? I feel like this is the same way. Like Hather, once you've done it once or twice, really, I mean, that's it, right? You go back to loot, you go back to get, resources, but like the newness and the sexiness has kind of worn off a little bit. Well, this was fun to get into last night, having never been in it. It was really awesome to see, again, 28 of us, like half of us were in Stanton and the other half were already in Pyro. So just coordinating for the first 30-ish minutes on how to get to Pyro 4 as a massive org was a lot of fun to do. So we finally made it through Stanton to Pyro. We made our way to Pyro 5. Shenanigans always happens. So people are just falling out of the Prowler Utility and dying. It was fun in that sense. Always a fun time with Soul Provision. But so there's 2 phases. In my mind, the way I'm going to explain it is there's 2 phases. The first phase is you go to Pyro 4, and that's your first kind of experience with ASD. The facilities, the Lazarus facilities, well, those are different, but whatever. The ASD facilities with the scientists and getting the cards and all that, like that's fun. And that wasn't really high for PvP. There were a couple ships that we needed to take out, which added a little bit of a dynamic. It was fun. But once we got on ground and took out the ground forces, it was pretty easy. You can either, kill a scientist that has the white lab coat and you put it on, and then you can go through doors that has like the scanner. Or if you're really savvy, you can knock them out. You can tractor beam them in front of the door and then help them up. And once they wake up, scan so that way you can keep your gear on. It scans them as they're waking up, and then you're able to go through doors. So that was a lot of fun. There was like a last piece that we had to do, which is really exciting, where you're getting your last key card. So the key card needed for phase 2. You start this like 3-minute counter, and of course it's like waves of NPCs, and that was a lot of fun. But with 28 people, it was amazing. Like, let's just say we had like 14 people in the building, like overpowering every egress and entrance point. But then we also had like a bunch of ships flying around on top of us that was pulling security and taking out most of the people before they even got to us. It was very sexy to see. And that's when Soul Provision, or that's when StarCitizen like really shines, is when you're playing in a group and all of the like the full spectrum of what this game is happening. That happened last night. So that was a lot of fun. I was the owner of the key card. So once we got the key card to take to phase 2, I got it put in my gear and we took off. Okay, so now you got to go to Pyro 1. And Pyro 1 is where it's at. So the image that you're seeing on my screen now, right? This is all Pyro 1. So rain clouds, lightning, clouds, rain, lightning, a shuttle service that takes you through like really amazing electrical storms, or like its own unique electrical storm. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And so because I had the key card, me and like maybe 10 individuals, we got out of our ships, made our way to the platform, and then got on the tram. While this is happening, an enemy Idris showed up and just started wreaking havoc. And so we had the other half of our org remain back to protect the ships. And so they were trying to attack the Idris, and there was this ongoing like space battle with this Idris. So I wasn't there for that. I can't speak to that, other than they were still doing it once we died and the org night was over. So it was still like ongoing. So we get in the tram and we go. And once we arrive to the facility, that's where PvP happened. So making our way down to like the building and getting inside the building, we came in contact with 2 or 3 individuals. Again, there's 10 of us, 2 or 3 of them. It's pretty easy to take them out. But the problem, and people need to remember this, and I reminded my org or whatever, do not chase. If you are a smaller element going up against a larger element, and this is real life, you do little pop shots, right? What you're trying to do is bait. You're baiting them. Like you'll take out 1 or 2 individuals, or you'll throw like this false, alarm. Like so, throw a grenade in one location. You're trying to get them to go somewhere. And so what happens is like 2 or 3 opponents came over and killed one of us, but then we'd run out there and try to take them out. Well, that's the worst thing you can do. Go get the body, bring it into the building, repair the building, or repair the fallen, right, inside the building, and just remain, like, keep in your security, stay in your security. You don't go out and chase. Don't ever chase. And that goes with like space ops too. Like if you're in the air fighting, in your dog fighting, don't chase, right? You have a like sphere of influence, and then you have like perimeters that kind of expand out. You stay within your perimeters. Once you leave that perimeter, you're on your own and you're probably going to die. So a lot of good reminders of like tactically what you should do. Well, we ended up remembering that tactic. We ended up getting into the center room. There's like a yellow room where you need the key card to produce an egg. And that's where we all died. So we had to wait. There was a timer on it that we had to wait like an additional 15 minutes before we could push the key card in to get the egg. And so we had to sit there and just be, sitting ducks for 15 minutes. And so those individuals that came in and kind of would pop off and then run away and then pop off again. I mean, we were sitting ducks, easy targets. And so all in on this note, at least for this story, I was savage AF. So there are organizations out there. Listen, I'm going to come off my screen. Here we go. Listen. There are organizations out there that want to skip the first half. They don't want to go through the work to get the key card necessary to produce the egg. They're going to go and they're going to camp out at phase 2, kill an org that has already done the work and take their key card. So if you are the individual carrying the key card and you start seeing individuals fall and like there is no silver lining, get rid of the key card. F the other org. So as people started falling around me, I was one of the last ones. It was me and one other person. There was really no way out. We still had 10 more minutes left on the timer. I took out my key card and I put it like on the ground behind something. So if we did survive, I would at least know where it was. But the moment I started falling below like 30% health and I've used all my med pens, I took the key card and I threw it. I took the key card and I threw it where there was no way anybody would ever be able to find it. So that way, if you are overran, the other org cannot benefit from not camping. I guess camping, but that he can't benefit from taking you over, right? Throw away the key cards so no one else can benefit. Okay. Anyways, back to Stormbreaker. All right, let's watch this video real quick. It's a great little like teaser for what to expect. I basically told you everything. So let's get into the video.
Day 96. This is it. The breakthrough I knew would happen. The specimen holds answers far beyond their comprehension. Even the infants serve my purpose. They need an end to the regen crisis, and I will deliver it, despite my colleagues' protests. That is why I am essential. Where they see life, my mind sees the design. The data locked in flesh that must be harvested. Science will not cower to moralistic fear. Progress requires clarity, not sentiment. To discover is to survive. To evolve is to rule. Once again, they put their future in the hands of science, yet still refuse to trust its judgment, its results. It's my responsibility to push forward. I must. I will save us all.
Sick. That's a great video. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this like major turn of like tempo and tone? Like up to this point, there haven't been aliens, right? Well, we had cows and we had birds and dogs. But for the most part, StarCitizen has not had aliens. There hasn't really been this like dark science fiction kind of twist to the game. I think this patch really kind of starts introducing like the radiation poisoning, the radiated aliens, like the dog with a nose, and the worms, right? Like these are very much different or breaks in what we've had for the last 11 years. We know that aliens were coming. Like I'm not ignorant when it comes to the lore and kind of where we are going. But it's the first time really in 11, 12 years that we are seeing this type or this tone of gameplay. So I'm just curious, like what are y'all's thoughts? What are y'all's thoughts on this? I love the aesthetics. I love everything about it. I loved watching Aliens vs. Predator. I loved watching all of that when I was a kid growing up. Yeah, I mean, this fits my science fiction, or this satisfies my science fiction itch, or the bug that I've got. But it's a total change in tone and aesthetics for this game. So I think, I don't know, I'm just curious. I don't really have an opinion about this yet, but I'm curious if you do. So here we go. Death closes in, panic rises as the regeneration crisis continues. Although researchers far and wide have flocked to answer the call of Imperator Addison and be credited as the saviors of the Empire, progress is slow. As desperation grows, more hazardous avenues of research are being explored, and the question arises, what price will we pay to hide from death? All right. Excuse me. So here is the gunsmith and the scientist. How far is too far? Disgraced weapons manufacturer ASD, which is Associated Science and Development, was quick to enter into regen research in a thinly veiled attempt to rehabilitate its image after an infamous incident that claimed 6 lives. But fear and moral judgment continue to surround ASD as its chief scientist, Dr. Logan Jorrit, refuses to disclose its methods, or his methods. In the eye, irradiate, illuminate, annihilate. Explore the data facilities of Pyro 4, break through the radioactive storms of Pyro 1, and venture into ASD's lockdown research facilities to discover Dr. Jorrit's dubious research methods. Add a visit to Wicklow's Emporium to your journey and trade for a valuable asset. You'll need it, as the storm isn't the only thing that wants you dead. Very cool. All right. So here are the ship offerings in the pledge store. These aren't new ships necessarily, but they're available if you want to buy them. There's 6 of them. So here's the Asgard for $350, Cutlass Steel $235, Prowler $440, Starlancer Tech $375, and the Valkyrie $375, and the Vanguard Hoplite $240. Moving on to the patch bundle. So something that they've introduced this year is with every patch, you're going to be getting a patch bundle. So here is the Hazard patch bundle. And so this is actual useful Hazard gear. And even previous, like several months ago, there was subscription gear that was like Hazard suits. So even that has been updated with radiation attributes. So this gear also has radiation attributes. It's like protects you from the rad poisoning. So here is, it's like a suit. It is a shotgun. Well, let me just read it to you. I'm trying to remember. Introducing the new Hazard Patch Bundle, showcasing a striking yellow and black livery. This bundle includes the Caldera Sterling Exploration Suit, designed for maximum protection in the most hostile environments. The Volt Prism Shotgun, renowned when reaching a heat threshold to fuse its pellets into firing a singular powerful projectile. And the Hazard Paint for the Crusader Spirit, $27. So I like the aesthetics, the colors, the livery, the gun. Like, I like it all, really. $27 just feels really expensive. Like that's almost half of the cost of a game in its entirety. Like, I'm pretty sure Clair Obscure Expedition 33 was like $60. So like, this is half of the best game of 2024. Or 2025. All right, moving on. There's just a quick link to the Esperia Prowler Utility, which has been out. So this is nothing new necessarily. So this is the entirety of 4.2. Now, with 4.2 also comes, weather patterns and everything else that we've talked about up to this point on the last like 5 or 10 episodes of the podcast. So it is encompassing all of it, right? Why did I come to the Stormbreaker? I'm trying to remember why I brought you here. I don't think I need to bring you here. I think we already went through everything. We did. We already went through everything. So what are your thoughts? It did come out yesterday, so there's not been a lot of time for people to get in and see the updates and see the ship balances and the hovering mechanics. And I could go through the entire patch notes, but we're already at that hour mark that I was trying to hold us to. But what are our thoughts, our feelings about the new cosmetics, the aesthetics, the feeling of these alien missions, the PvP-centric missions? How do we feel about camping at jump points? Which, again, I don't think I necessarily minded, by the way. Just I want to go on record saying, like, I didn't leave mad. I wasn't, like, pissy about it. StarCitizen as a game allows it. It has mechanisms and systems built to enforce and encourage it. So you can't really be too mad, but like, how do we feel about the PvP, the forcing of PvP in some of these situations? You cannot do this unless you're doing it in weird hours, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And even then, you more than likely will be prevented from being successful at this unless you have a group of 10, 15, 20 people. So I love it. I think there needs to be enough game content for all game types. There's enough PvE content if you want to go do cargo hauling and, mercenary missions and bounty hunting missions. Like, that's all PvE. But I think we need more jump towns. We need more jump towns. I think Stormbreaker is another good attempt. There's drama surrounding it, of course, with, med bed camping and all that, whatever. I think you're never really going to be able to get away from that, truly. So I think there needs to be a good amount of content for both. And I think StarCitizen has predominantly been PvE up to this point with elements of PvP. So I like the idea of sandbox activities that encourage the player versus player dynamic. But what are your thoughts? This is a very interesting time of the game as we kind of see it changing. We see it changing and molding into what it will become, right, in the next several years. So, all right, we're going to wrap this one up. Congratulations to the 2 giveaway winners. Thank you, everybody, for continuously listening and watching the podcast. It has meant a lot to me. And of course, the organization as we continue to grow. Consider joining it. We would love to have you as part of the family, truly. So if you want to become part of the conversation, you could do so over on Spotify. We do have the comment section and the poll section, which clearly we address every single week. You can email us at contact@beyondtheversehq.com and send your questions, comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, complaints, emotional outbursts, you name it. We'll read it as long as it's appropriate. Give to our Extra Life endeavor. It's our philanthropy for the year to help children's hospitals around the United States. You can do so at the same website, beyondtheversehq.com. Join our in-game with Soul Provision, our in-game organization, Soul Provision, at soulprovision.com. But again, you are welcome. You are welcome to join no matter what part of the world you're in. Just be a good person. Guys, girls, everybody, I thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Safe travels as you traverse beyond the verse. Take care, everybody.